Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited today to announce the new version 2.7 of my DOTFILES. The new version is now available to download from my GitLab repository. And also this time a lot of enhancements and new features have been implemented into the new version. The first one is the new wallpaper selector, and the selector now supports thumbnails of the wallpapers that are available on your system. Waybar comes with a lot of new features. For example, now you can disable sway idle to lock your screen. This is super helpful if you, for example, are in video conferences or watching videos. Then you can temporarily disable swaylock, but can also bring it back whenever you want. Waybar also now includes a theme starter package that makes it super easy for you to implement your own theme for the DOTFILES. A lot of new features have been implemented to the Hyprland setting scripts. A lot of new variations are available for you to customize even more your Hyprland configuration, plus new functions to modify Waybar on the fly. You can, for example, add more workspaces to Waybar, or you can hide and show selected modules on the fly. The installer of the 2.7 DOTFILES now brings back SDDM, the Display Manager SDDM. And with the settings script, you can also copy the current wallpaper into the SDDM configuration and use it as a background image. For your information, from now on, I will not support Hyprland in QTILE with my DOTFILES anymore. The QTILEs are only supporting X11 installations. If you want to run a window manager on Hyprland, please switch to Hyprland. And thanks again to the whole community, to all the channel followers, to the super active users of my DOTFILES sharing their ideas and improvements and even code snippets on my GitLab repository and help me to improve the overall configuration with this version again. And with that, let's jump in. Welcome to my Hyprland desktop in the version 2.7. Again, there are a lot of new features and improvements included, and I want to start with Waybar. You know, when you click with the left mouse button, the application starter pops up. And if you click with the right mouse button, you have here the list of the enabled key bindings in your Hyprland installation. The first new feature is when I click left on the image icon here, you see the new wallpaper selector. Now you see a preview, a thumbnail of the wallpapers that are installed in the wallpaper directory in your home directory. And you can choose a wallpaper just by moving right or left through the list. Let's select this wallpaper. And it changed again with an animation effect with SWWW. Let's open it again. And you see that the order of the 6 wallpapers has changed because the list of wallpapers is generated randomly. And this helps me to find more creatively, more spontaneously a new wallpaper for my desktop. For example, let's select this one. Another new feature in Waybar is here on the right side. Yeah, you see here an on label. And if this is on, sway idle will start automatically after a defined time and will open swaylock. Yeah, swaylock is this one. To lock the screen, to exit, and so on. But this is disturbing during video calls with Teams or if you watch videos. And that's why you can now disable the auto lock just by clicking here the button. And then you see the label auto lock off and swaylock will not start automatically. If you want to bring the auto lock feature back, just click it again and swaylock will start automatically again. Next to the auto lock toggle, you can find now the Systray. The Systray is an area where application can add icons and additional menus. For example, here in my case, OBS Studio. Currently, OBS Studio is running, and with the right click, that menu pops up, and I can stop the recording, I can exit, and so on. So also this is now added to Waybar. Now we come to other big changes. And the changes are here in the settings script, a completely reworked settings script for my .files. Let's start with the appearance section. You see that you have here the possibility to change the style of the animations. For example, to enable a fast animation, I execute now this configuration and it is enabled. Yeah, so you see how fast it is. The decoration sections also now includes more configurations. For example, the no rounding configuration. You see now we have here edges with no rounding, more blur. You see that we have more blur in the windows. With rounding, all blur. You see that now everything has a blur effect. Let me change the wallpaper with super key Shift W, and you see also that Waybar has also now a blur effect. Let's compare it with the default. Now it's transparent. With all blur, it's blurred. All blur, no shadows. Removes the shadows from the windows. With rounding, more blur. We have a bit more blur in the windows and transparency in Waybar. Let's select rounding, all blur for now. Very nice. With escape, you move back. With the wallpaper entry, the wallpaper selector pops up. And we can select another nice wallpaper, for example, this one. In the window section, there are a lot of new variations now available. What I really like at the moment is a 1 pixel border. So let's select border 1 and execute it. Now we have a 1 pixel border. Let's open some more windows. And when I hover with the mouse over a window, see the active color is an orange coming from the wallpaper. Yeah, but I can change this with border 1 reverse. And now the active color is white and the inactive color is the color from the wallpaper. This is something that you can define how you like it. Let's go back to border 1 configuration, execute, and now again the highlight color is the color, the orange, coming from the wallpaper. You can of course also increase the border size to 2, to 3, or to 4. Or remove the border completely. Or increase the gaps with no borders. Yeah, so a lot of new variations are available for you, and just try it out. Yeah, find what you like, but you can also create your own configuration directly within the settings script. As a foundation, I will choose border 4, and I copy this configuration. And let's say we want to create a border of 8, and I confirm that configuration file with return. And now I can select the custom border 8 and can edit the file directly in the settings script. This is Vim. I increase the border size to 8. I save the file with escape WQ. I select the file and execute it. And now you see I have 8 pixels border around my window. And this is how you can create your own configuration. This works with all variations of the Hyprland configurations within the settings script. Let's go back to the border 1. Execute it. Let's move to Waybar section, and here you can do a lot more. The apps label. Let's change the apps label to start. And now you see you have start here on the label of the application starter button in Waybar. Let's move it back to apps. The quick launcher. If you have, for example, another browser that you want to start with that icon, then you can enter the start command here. For example, for Brave, for Firefox, I use Chromium. The same works for the file manager, the network manager, clicking here on this button, the software manager. The Bluetooth module in Waybar is enabled by default, but maybe you don't like it. Yeah, then you can now hide the Bluetooth label just by selecting hide. Yeah, now it's deactivated, but you can bring back whenever you like, again with selecting show. The same works for the Systray. Not everyone likes having the Systray in the Waybar, so let's hide it. And the icon here in my case of OBS Studio is now hidden, and I can easily bring it back with show. The themes can be started here. So now you have here the theme selector, and I can change, for example, the theme to white. And now I have white here on top with the blur background. But you know, you can also do this with the 3 dots here. Yeah, let's bring it back with blur back. Let's select workspace. You know, the status includes 5 workspaces, but if this is not enough for you and you need 8, just select 8. And now you have 8 workspaces on top. Or bring it back to 5. And there's much more to discover in the settings script. Key bindings, again, is default variation configuration file. It's available. You can, again, copy it if you like, edit it, and activate it then later on with execute to create your own key binding files. The system. The same for monitor. Some variations are already there, but you can easily create your own variation. Environment. This is the default environment currently loaded. If you are in a QEMU virtual machine, you can enable the kvmconf and then you have a better mouse support. Window rules. Also here, there are a default window rule already available. And in the custom, you can enter custom configurations directly in a file custom conf that will be loaded at the end of the Hyprland conf and can even here be more personal in your configurations. Here's another section, SDDM Display Manager. You can also now transfer the current wallpaper into your Display Manager SDDM and use it as a background image. With background image, I can confirm this with yes. I have to enter my password because it's a sudo command and now it's updated. And next time, if you log into SDDM, you see this wallpaper. You know, the settings script is always available with the wheel symbol or with super key Control S. Let's open a terminal and enter ls. And you see that now icons are enabled in that view of folders with ls. With ll, you get the detailed view, again, also with icons. This is ls again. You know, my terminal is Alacritty, and Alacritty has changed the format of the configuration file to TOML format. Let's open the file. This is a much more reduced configuration of Alacritty and it's better readable. And this is now the default format of the configuration. As a backup, the old alacritty.yml file is still available. You know, my .files are supporting Waybar themes, and I have created a new theme for you. It's the starter Waybar theme that you can use to create your own custom theme. Let's do this. Let's switch to an editor and open the .files folder in your home directory. And here is the Waybar folder. And here is the starter. if you want to create your own theme, you can do this by clicking copy on the starter, copy the folder and bring it back to the themes folder and rename it to custom starter, for example. Open the folder, open the config.sh and rename it to my Waybar theme. Then you can save it and it then should be available under my Waybar theme. And now your theme is in use and you can start customizing it. Now I'm here on QTILE, and for your information, I have removed the Wayland support from my QTILE configuration. And from now on, I only support X11 configurations for QTILE. If you want to use a Wayland window manager, please use HYPRLAND from now on. Also on QTILE, you can now find here on top that image icon, and you can open the wallpaper selector from the wallpapers that are installed in the wallpaper folder. For example, this image. When you open Alacritty and enter ls, you have now also icons here. And the rest is the same. With super key control return, you open the application starter with the wallpaper in the background. Let's change the wallpaper with super key shift W. Here is another wallpaper, and you can open the browser by clicking the browser icon. This is Chromium, and the file manager by clicking the file manager icon. Okay, you have seen a lot of new features and improvements have been enabled in the DOTFILES 2.7. And again, thank you so much for watching the video, and feel free to download the DOTFILES, copy the source code, include configurations into your personal configurations. Everything is possible. And with that, see you next time.